Series got picked up. Power got picked up without Kanan existing in it. That's why I don't even appear. Exception of the network. Period. The takeover.
He's calm when he says it, but the message is loud. The empire you watched wasn't an accident. Power didn't even start with Kanan in it. He added the monster later, and Hollywood still acted like they didn't see him. Tonight, we run the TV war in 50's own words. The move from stars to bigger pipelines, awards that look the other way, and how a street mind built a studio machine and then taught the room to respect it. Start with a blank space, not on radio, on television. He explains that when Power first got picked up, the character everyone associates with him, Kanan, didn't even exist yet. That came later because he needed to keep his showrunner working, and the machine needed a new gear. It's the first hint of how he treats TV, like music, but slower and more deliberate.
We created that afterwards. Like I had to get Courtney to stay working, so it had, like, we developed it for 2 years before it actually went.
He's done TV before, he says, just not like this. This run is different because he's not a one-off guest star or a cameo for clout. He's building an engine where talent, writing, and production all move on his timing. He talks about being in the rooms, reading projects, then watching what they turn into, how the rewrites land, what the director changes, what survives the budget notes, and using that cycle to craft a formula that keeps quality predictable.
That's the only way you can actually develop your formula.
You can hear how the room opens for him in real time. Recently, the doors he used to knock on started swinging outward. The networks lean in, the notes soften, and the language flips from maybe to whatever you want. That's not hype, it's operational trust. Budgeting, delivery, and consistency buy you leverage. And he's cashing it without noise.
It's starting to look. Now it's starting to open up.
The Kanan pivot is the perfect example. Kanan wasn't a vanity plug, it was structural. He built a character to create new lanes for the people he believed in, kept the writer locked in, and suddenly the show has an axis that can spin off into its own universe. That's how you get seasons, then spin-offs, then a world. That's how a rapper turns into a showrunner's shadow partner and a studio's safest bet. This is also where you see the difference between him and most celebrity producers. He isn't waiting for a call, he's architecting the call, selling, reshaping, moving a project if the fit is wrong. This isn't cocky, it's process. He'll take a development to the network that believes, or build the belief by delivering the impossible on schedule. When the phone rings now, it doesn't sound like a favor. It sounds like a plan that's already working, with writers attached, timeline sketched, and a fan base primed to binge. He keeps his tone practical, bored with the drama. That's part of it. Where other artists treat television like a victory lap, he treats it like infrastructure. You build lanes, you staff them with killers, and you keep everything moving so nobody is waiting on inspiration. The result is a catalog the audience can live inside, not just visit, and a boardroom that stops treating him like a stunt and starts treating him like a solution. Then there's the part that pisses people off, the awards. He doesn't dodge the question, he shrugs. If a platform won't stand behind a show, why stand beneath their chandeliers? He'd rather keep building than dress up for a room that won't say his name.
Is the reason, like, when stars doesn't get behind a show like that, is that the reason we don't see you at the Emmys and the Golden Globes?
That's why I don't even appear.
And this is where the culture feels the disconnect most. The audience knows the show is a fixture, debates it like sports, quotes it like rap. The critics take a long lunch. He points at the gap without begging and asks the only question that matters for a TV mogul. Where's the presence inside the building? If the conversation is huge and the trophies don't reflect it, he'll go where the conversation can turn into resources, more seasons, more spin-offs, more output for the base that actually shows up.
Talk about Power just as much.
And you go,
about it.
Where is it? And you go, where is it at in the actual show?
He isn't anti-institution, he's anti-permission. Show it with receipts and a schedule and watch how fast the same gatekeepers become partners. If the awards come, fine. If not, the machine still ships episodes. The universe still expands. And the fans keep treating Power like Sunday service. That's the scoreboard he respects. Deliver, scale, repeat.
I'll show up and then produce more of it for a reason for people to stay on the actual network.
Underneath that stance is a simpler metric, visibility that converts. He cares about how many people can find the show and how often they return. If a distribution partner hesitates, he can make noise on a bigger pipe. If a partner leans in, he pours more episodes into the lane and dares the competition to keep pace. The audience reads that as momentum. The industry reads it as leverage. He reads it as normal. Do the work, protect the writers, and don't wait for anyone to hand you a certificate before you build the next season. So when people ask why he seems unfazed by red carpet politics, the answer is that he's already solved for it. Let trophies be ceremony. He'll take renewals. Let headlines speculate. He'll take another time slot. In a business that loves optics, he is stubborn about outputs. Keep the pipeline full. Keep the conversation hot. Keep the base fed. Everything else can arrive late or not at all. And the engine will still be there in the morning. In TV, pipe size is power. He learned early that networks telegraph their priorities long before a billboard goes up. You can feel it in how they budget, how they schedule, and what they whisper to award voters. When a platform treats your show like oxygen, the public sees it everywhere. When it doesn't, you're fighting uphill with the same great episode.
They'll put this because it's a priority for the network.
He's not pouting about that reality. He's mapping it. If the network doesn't open the taps, you won't magically drown the audience in promotion. But if a show crushes despite minimal push, that tells him something even more important. The base is strong enough to carry across pipes, and that's where his calculation changes. He'll keep feeding the machine. More episodes, more spin-offs, until the platform has to choose. Either turn up the pressure or watch him walk it to a bigger hose.
So the network is growing at a pace that they're absolutely happy with, as far as Stars is concerned.
You can hear the subtext. The show made Stars look bigger. The pipeline didn't always make the show look bigger. That mismatch is why the conversation eventually shifts from, are we renewed, to where else can we be seen? In one breath, he even hints at downstream distribution that puts the series in front of audiences who never paid for the original channel. That's not shade, it's strategy. If the work is sticky, widen the pipe.
Power on Stars coming on Amazon, I think it was, or something.
The effect is simple. More doors, more discovery, more leverage. The same episode that fought for billboards in one building becomes a magnet in another. And once you've proven the audience will follow, you're no longer begging for marketing. You're negotiating from proof. That's when maybe next season turns into whatever you want. When scheduling stops being a favor and becomes an obligation. It's not personal, it's plumbing. He carries that mindset into every call. Don't complain about the faucet, connect a better line. Don't chase the trophy, chase the reach. And when the reach arrives, don't get high on it. Convert it into new seasons, new casts, and a world people can live in. Because a world does what a one-off hit can't. It survives network mood swings. Worlds don't build themselves. He keeps circling the same names because the names explain the output. A showrunner who can take pressure without breaking. A cast that holds weight in quiet scenes and still looks bulletproof when the action hits. When he says their names, it's not flattery. It's the blueprint.
And that one, Courtney Kemp, the writer, showrunner, she's, she's dope. And it's grown, it's good. Like, I feel good about it. Amari Hardwick, we got a whole crew of people that's talented.
That's the machine. A writer general, a lead who can carry an hour, and a bench deep enough to spin off without the story collapsing. He treats music cues the same way. Functional, not decorative. If a scene needs the score to speak for a character, the music has to be right there, not as branding, but as storytelling tech.
New people, and I felt like it was more important to have good music speak for the characters at points like.
The cast understands the ecosystem too. You can hear how other stars talk when they sit next to him. Half joking, half serious, fully aware that being in the universe changes careers. It's not just a cool cameo. It's a lane into a franchise with fans who watch like it's postseason ball.
Put me on Power, man.
Put me on Power, man.
There you go. Now we need it. That's all I need. That demand exists because the world holds. When a character exits, another enters without the audience feeling cheated. When a new corner of the city lights up, the rules still feel familiar. That consistency doesn't come from luck. It comes from staffing. Writers who can echo a voice without copying it. Directors who know when to sit on a face and when to cut away. Producers who know when to say one more and when to say move on. And underneath all of it is his producer's math. Protect the people who deliver. Keep them working and build structures that make good decisions easier to repeat. Kanan wasn't an ego plug. It was scaffolding. And access to extend stories, keep Courtney working, and give the audience a villain they couldn't stop watching. Do that enough times, and you've got more than a show. You've got a studio in motion. He talks about it like a foreman, not a poet, because blueprints are how you get to season 6, and blueprints are why actors ask to jump in, why networks stay in business with you even when awards don't, and why the audience shows up for spin-offs without needing a trailer to explain the rules. Next up, he flips tone, not discipline, shifting into comedy as a strategic move. Different pace, same playbook. Build the engine, choose the pipe, and make the room laugh while you expand the world. He shifts lanes without changing engines. Comedy isn't a vacation from work. It's another way to control how people see him and to own more time on the screen. He talks about selling a variety show first to A&E, plain as daylight. There's no mystique to it. Just another pipeline he chose to open because it multiplies his presence and stretches what the audience expects from him.
Well, BT, I had sold the variety show to A&E first.
If drama builds the world, comedy warms the room. He wants a place where the guard can drop, where the interviews aren't PR sprints and the bits can hit nerve endings you can't touch with a gunshot and a plot twist. It's also brand insurance. The more formats he can command, the harder it is to freeze him out. A&E says yes today, someone else says yes tomorrow. And suddenly, the calendar is full of chances to be human in front of millions. And he's specific about why this lane matters right now. Standards are loosening. Networks that used to flinch at sharp edges are suddenly inviting them. It's not chaos, it's an opening. If you've got the timing to ride the line without getting tossed, you can say more than you could 2 years ago, which means you can be funnier, realer, and stickier than the next guy who still thinks he's auditioning for daytime TV.
So they're gonna start to do things that allow us to say things content-wise.
This is the same playbook as the crime saga, just in softer clothes. Build the engine, choose the pipe, deliver on schedule, and make it impossible to ignore. Not because you beg, but because you show up everywhere your audience wants to find you, and you make them laugh while you do it. The laugh isn't decoration, it's glue. It holds a tension between the heavier beats and makes a mogul look like a person again, which is a different kind of power. Comedy also lets him cast his world differently. A cameo for a rapper who can't act in a drama becomes a layup in a sketch. A director who's great with timing, but not with fights, suddenly looks like a genius. He can experiment without risking the spine of his empire. And when something lands, he can scale it. Same way he scaled Kanan into a universe. So the move isn't random. It's vertical integration of attention. Keep the base entertained on Sunday nights, then give them a reason to check back midweek for something lighter, faster, looser. If the audience follows, the awards can keep their quiet. Ratings are a vote too. He's ruthless about the parts of TV most people never see. Drama might be art, but delivery is a ledger. He talks about productions that burn 3 times the budget just to arrive at the same frame. A warning disguised as a shrug. If you want to control your fate, you have to control the math, or it will control you.
They're spending 3 times
Right.
the budget to do it.
That line isn't just a complaint, it's a permission slip to make better choices. Hire the team that knows how to shoot smart, not just expensive. Spend where the audience feels it and pull back where they don't. The point isn't to starve the show, it's to make sure costs line up with what the show actually needs to do. Because the reward for discipline isn't applause. It's leverage. Deliver under budget with heat on the screen, and every phone call after that feels different. He pushes the same reality onto music inside TV. Audiences think of songs as vibe. He thinks of them as logistics. In a lot of rooms, music gets whatever's left after the big toys are paid for, which is why the sound sometimes feels like an afterthought. He calls that out, not to whine, but to explain why his shows feel scored by intent rather than accident.
Else in the last place in the budget that they actually allocated their finances is to getting the music.
The fix isn't romantic. Lock the budget early, fight for music like it's a character, and find cues that earn their place. If the song is a scene partner, the scene plays bigger. If the song is a wallpaper, you wasted money. That's the same discipline he applies everywhere. Cut the fat that doesn't move the audience. Invest in the parts that do, and never mistake noise for value. Delivery is the other half of this sermon. If you hit dates, the trust compounds. If you miss them, nothing else you say matters. He's built a reputation on the first one. Scripts that arrive when promised. Dailies that make executives breathe easier. Episodes that clear standards without lawyers rewriting half the dialogue. It isn't glamorous, but it's how you buy the freedom to experiment with the comedy block on one network while stretching a crime saga across another. This is the mogul version of Right Every Day. He produces every day, on time. The art lives inside that discipline, not in spite of it. He keeps translating perception to mechanics. If the billboards tell one story and the numbers tell another, trust the numbers and move accordingly. He's blunt about how networks advertise their chosen ones. You can see it in the mailers, the for your consideration sets. The way the same shows get the glossy treatment while the rest are told to be grateful for Thursdays.
So because it was like, you know, you can see the priorities. Like the networks, you see those things like for your consideration.
I don't even know what that
Campaigns,
is.
like inside the different publications or on for your
gotcha.
consideration. Like they'll
So he refuses to measure himself by someone else's brochure. If they won't print him, he'll print himself on channels they don't control, with formats they didn't invent. He's not allergic to institutions. He just won't let them be the only mirror. Presence that converts is the only proof that counts. Watchers turning into subscribers. Subscribers turning into season renewals. A character turning into a spin-off the audience begged for before the pilot even rolled credits.
and you haven't seen that, but you've seen huge success in numbers.
Numbers aren't everything, but they're the part that can't lie to you. If the rooms keep filling up and the streams keep climbing, the campaign you didn't get becomes a footnote. You become your own campaign, and ironically, the institutions you bypassed start calling. That's the loop. Make the work undeniable, and the optics will eventually recalibrate to match the truth you already proved. That's why he keeps adding pipes, adding nights, adding formats. Not to look busy, but to own more places where the audience can say yes. When they do, the posters can come late, the show goes on time. The TV story isn't mysterious. Build the engine, hire killers, choose the right pipe, and deliver like your life depends on it. He didn't wait for a panel to knight him. He moved power from a pickup with no Kanan to a universe with its own gravity. Sold a variety show because laughter buys attention that trophies don't, and kept budgets honest so the work could scale without begging. Awards might catch up one day, they might not. Either way, the world he built keeps paying in renewals, in new lanes, in audiences that show up on schedule. That's the scoreboard he respects. If the rooms are full, the rest is commentary. He says it softly, but the meaning is loud. Own the pipes you can, master the ones you can't, and keep shipping. Do that long enough, and the brochures start to look like history pages, while the people who actually watch decide what matters in real time.